And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ysn Power Hour, and we are powered by the great sponsors at the bottom of your screen. You will see them flip out about halfway through the show. We want to say thank you to all of them, and thank you to all of you for inviting us into your living room, wherever your device is, wherever you are at. Thank you for making us part of your each and every day right here on the Ysn Power Hour. Richie Giuliano is back along with Billy Mack. We got Ty Bartell. Muncie was here. He's gone now. Here's Quinn, and we got McNuggies at the bottom of the screen as well. Boys, how was the weekend? Richie, we'll start with you. Go ahead.
I mean, it couldn't get any better. Indians in the postseason coming up, and the Brownies getting a win. I mean, that's all we could ask for. Great Sunday. Indians end up coming back, beating the Pirates, and then the Browns securing the victory. So it was a great day.
Get out of here.
Couldn't ask for more.
Billy Mack, how was your weekend?
It's pretty good. Started off pretty good. Didn't know I was going to have a game. Had a game. Got to call a really good Springfield team, and everything seemed to kind of go well for YSN over the weekend. So good weekend for me.
Thumbs up. Ty Bartell, your weekend.
Started off pretty bad, pretty stressful, and then it got progressively better. The Indians, like Richie said, they made the postseason. We saw the Pats beat up on Paul's Raiders, and but he's beat me up in the fantasy league, so I guess he's getting me back on that.
I don't know where Paul went. Quinn, how was your weekend?
Great. It was a great weekend. Browns won. Great weekend.
And your Lakers won as well over the weekend.
That was going to happen anyway.
Well, okay, smart ass. Muncie, how was your weekend?
It was a good weekend. It was a good weekend. Good, couple good wins. Gonna get another fantasy win here today, hopefully, cash it out, and then Braves finishing in the 2 spot there for MLB, which was good. Raiders took one on the chin with the Patriots, but that's okay. The Raiders that matter won, so that's all right.
Oh boy, McNuggies. McNuggies, how was your weekend?
It was great. Beavers won on Friday, so that's great. Some great college football, some upsets all over across the board Saturday, and then Saturday night I actually went to a corn maze out of Mahoning County. And then Sunday, obviously, my Steelers won, so couldn't have asked for a better weekend, honestly. And I beat EB by like 30.
Oh boy, there it was.
Well, he still got Marquise
an
Brown.
entire sentence with McNuggies not throwing salt on anybody, and there it was, right at the end on the way out. Did you go to the Springfield corn maze? Is that the one you went to?
I think it was.
Okay, you made
Maze
it sound
Craze?
like it was like 6 hours. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Maze Craze.
6 hours away. It's right on the Outer Banks here in Springfield.
It wasn't that.
It is National Family Day. Oh my gosh, already off the rails. McNuggies, you got a great family. Talk about what's the best part of being part of the McKenzie family?
It's just weekends, man. We have a nice pool outside. We spent that watching the Steelers game and watching football all day. The weekends are definitely the best here at the McKenzie house. Everybody's busy Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, everybody just kind of gets to sit back and relax, chill up by the pool, some fires every now and then. So it's great.
Quinn, how about you? The Pushkar family, you're probably among the favorites. Talk about being the part of the Pushkar family.
No, I am not one of the favorites at all. I think my cousins are actually higher up on the list than I am.
In your own house.
It's interesting when you come down to the cul-de-sac in Canfield. It's an interesting little place. I mean, Richie can attest to it. My side of the cul-de-sac is a wild place.
Muncie, what's your favorite part of being a Munson?
That there's not many of us around here, so they're few and far between over here, which is nice. So just me and the fourth and my family, and then there's my brother and his group. So that's about, my dad lives over in Pittsburgh, so that's it for the Munsons. We're small in stature in groups, but we're our personalities are a little bit bigger. But I was actually surprised that you didn't pick National Beer Day. Today's National Beer Day.
Well, since we have 2 or 3 guys that are not allowed to drink, I thought it would be a little awkward.
That's true. Root beer, they could give us their favorite root beers.
I think McNuggies might be the only one now.
Are you 21, Richie?
I am, yeah.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday? How did we miss that?
That was like last week. It was a Monday.
Oh, happy birthday.
That's what he gets for not coming on the Power Hour. See,
I couldn't. I mean, I was busy.
He was drinking. It was
Nah.
21.
He was drinking. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was.
Nah.
He was celebrating National Beer Day a week early. So,
Nah.
Ty Bartell, we know you're a family guy. Favorite part of being a Bartell?
We're a very loud family. You go into the Bartell house with everybody there. I mean, you just times me by a bunch, and you get how loud the whole family is. But all of us are a big family oriented people. So it's we all kind of have each other's backs in all kinds of situations. So
Can appreciate that. And then we go on to the goat of the family, and I'm not talking about the greatest of all time, the scapegoat of the family, Billy McCartney, who bets against his own family each and every week. Mac, your favorite part of being a McCartney?
Well, my family is highly, weirdly competitive with everything we do. It doesn't matter what it is. It draws into fights and arguments. We're crazy. Yeah, we're that family. We're like, look at those guys. Those guys are so loud, obnoxious, stupid, doing crazy things. That's my family. So
Love that. And then
it's always interesting.
We turn to the man who constantly gets mixed up with his dad, with everybody here at YSN. Richie, the Giuliano name is pristine. It's gold. It is the top of the food chain. Talk about what it's like to be a Giuliano.
Honestly, I just love the support that I'm getting right now. During college, my whole family is buying into supporting my dream, housing me during college, feeding me every night. So I just say the support is endless, and I appreciate them very much. So if they're watching this, thanks, guys. I love you. I appreciate you.
See, that's what it's all about right there. My favorite part of being a Yoakley is kind of like Paul's. There's not a whole lot of us out there, so we kind of get adopted by other families, and one of them that has adopted the Yoakleys very well has been the Bell family. Charles, Allie, as well as Logan and Lexi. Allie was in here right before the show and dropped off this awesome Bombers hat where Logan played this summer for an abbreviated time, and I wear it proudly, as I wear it proudly anything that the Bells give me or provide or want to incorporate, because there's so many people that I've met through YSN, through doing this, that means so much, and it's become family. To me, family is more than just a last name or blood. It's about the people you want to surround yourself with, and we've been very fortunate, my family included, to be able to be part of others, and have other people kind of love on us. And I'm sure you guys have some of that from being part of YSN too. So we want to thank everybody out there who has loved on the YSN crews, who has, even we've given people shit for criticizing and all that stuff, but it all comes down to we all want to be better, which is a perfect segue, guys, into one of the things. Yes, sir.
I will say real quick, you and I talk about we have smaller families, but I will say my wife's side makes up for it. So, there's 8 on her mom, 8 on her dad. There's like 60 cousins, grandchildren. There's like 54 of them. It's insane. So I'm still learning names, and it's 13 years later. So,
we love you, Paul.
Yeah. And now I got all this here too. So this is
there it is. That's how you bring it back around. I had a segue. It was perfect. I was leading in, and I, of course, leave it to our CDO to completely just hack it right up.
Instead of going A to B, I always go A.
Yes, we know.
B.
We know. And you write it down, and nobody else gets to see it but you, Puppet Master. We do have some breaking news here at YSN, something we've kind of touched on through the last week or so. So without further ado, here's our breaking news right here on the Power Hour. Hi, everybody. It's DJ Yoakley with YSN, and as you can imagine, things have been very busy over the last 5 weeks. But I want you to know that we have been listening. Every tweet, every message, every email, we have listened. And that's why this week, for Week 6, we are introducing the YSN Power Play. For the $9.99 that you've been doing for the last 5 weeks, you've been getting one game. And now it's time for YSN to pivot. It's time for us to evolve. And that's why for $9.99 this week, you enter it, your favorite team, they get the 25%, and you get all the games. That's right, 25 games here on YSN this week for $9.99. Again, all you have to do is the same thing you've been doing this entire time. Go to your favorite team's page where you want to start. They get the 25% when you buy the virtual ticket. And of course, then you get the entire abundance of games right here on the network for $9.99. Here at YSN, we are founded on the beliefs that we are loyal, local, and live. And we want no more loyalty to those of our fans and those who have been there since day one. So again, this week, $9.99, all the games here on YSN. Where you start is not where you're going to finish. Your sports network presents the Power Play only on ysnlive.com. Sit back, enjoy, and a sincere thank you for being part of the YSN family. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's crazy. You changed just that fast?
It's the power of television. $9.99. This is something we've had up our sleeve for a little bit. We've been looking for an opportunity to change, and we think right before the playoffs, there's no better opportunity. So we do listen. I mean, that's the thing. Our Friday nights consist of listening, especially last Friday. We listen to our fans, we listen to our the people that are out at the games. That's who we are. We want to give the power back to you. That's why it's your sports network. And starting this Friday for $9.99, you don't get just one game, you get them all. But I want to also let people know, again, I've gotten this question already, go to the team that you want to start with. So if you're a Salem fan, make sure you go to Salem's channel, buy the Salem game, and then you'll still get every other game. And Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, it dropped from 25 to 24 in the last 24 hours or so. So I was off with that number. So we'll have 24 games. Still, Newton Falls canceled due to COVID concerns. So that's a situation.
Rescheduled for October 30th.
Yeah, so it's going to be 30-some days away. But guess what? You'll still get it here on YSN. So we'll make sure that we keep you updated on the games that we do have. And you know, we talked about it on Friday. 2:30, a game got canceled, the Crestview Newton Falls game. We had that breaking news. We had all of that stuff, and we were able to update you right here on ysnlive.com. We want to thank everybody because, listen, yeah, we take heat. That's fine. You know, that's why we basically live in a kitchen. And we're trying to appease the majority and build value for our great viewers, for our sponsors, for our fans, for everybody here at YSN. So that's why this is happening. It's happening because of you. It's not happening because of us. It's happening because of you. So thank you to all of you. Oh, my gosh, Paul, what just happened?
A chair fell off a desk.
How does that happen?
The South Range has ghosts. Okay.
Ghosts.
Yep.
So there's that.
They're so excited about this announcement.
There it is. But now we turn to football. Let's go. Let's talk about the games that surprised us here locally in the Valley. And there's one that I can point at right now because I was the lone wolf in picking them. How we feeling about Mineral Ridge now, boys? Anybody else got a Mineral? Anybody else feeling the Ram horns right now? I am.
Yeah.
They smacked the shit out of Jackson Milton.
They stuck those Rams right up all of our butts.
And now Jackson Milton's got to play Springfield after that bad taste in their mouth. That's not a good thing. If they were looking ahead,
they're angry.
Then they better be prepared this week because they got to fight for them.
Do you feel it was a trap game? Like, do you think Milton was looking to Springfield already and kind of overlooked Mineral Ridge?
How do you screw that up? You were at home. Like, how do you sit there and go, we got a home game against these guys. You got shut out. Like, you didn't even score. Like, at least in a trap game, like halfway through the game, you like realize, okay, we need to figure something out here. You went into halftime, and I don't know what adjustments you made at all because
none, zero.
Clearly,
you came out and got shut out at home, and that's your last game. No, this week's your last game at home.
Was last week the week that they beat Western Reserve?
That was the week before. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was Western Reserve, then Ridge.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple things that you can attribute this to, right? I mean, that's a huge win against Western Reserve, and then you kind of overlook because again, right sandwiched in the middle of Reserve and Springfield is Mineral Ridge, and you got a hell of a win over Reserve, and then you got Springfield waiting for you in week 6. Is that an overlook? Is that just an overlook? Did you just I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's one of those things, those crazy things. I mean, Richie, you've seen this before. It happens all the time in baseball. You overlook, oh, well, if we don't win this game, we still have game 7. I mean, is that something you look at from a youth point of view and go, well, we're coming off a big win, feeling pretty good about ourselves? Ridge was ready. Take nothing away from Ridge. This was a Ridge win, not as much a Jackson Milton loss.
Well, I mean, I think you look at it, Jackson Milton's undefeated for the first time in forever. So you're looking at Springfield, another team that's undefeated. So you're kind of looking ahead, just like South Range in a couple of interviews, like they're looking to play Hubbard, who was 4-0 at the time. Hubbard drops one. They still have to focus on that game in that week. So I don't know if Jackson Milton was looking ahead, but they were definitely looking at the matchup of both teams being undefeated in a big showdown in week 6.
Jet Louise saying, I can only watch one game at a time. Would be nice to get a free game. 5 games so far at $49.95. More to watch at $9.99 each.
Not sure I get what's going on there because you can.
So he goes, because I can only watch one game at a time, but I've paid for a game every single week.
Well, we appreciate the support, certainly, but this is to maximize. Like, I realize you can only watch one game at a time, but you can watch if one game's a blowout, and I wish I knew who they were supporting. But if there was one game a blowout,
if you were watching the Jackson Milton Middle Ridge game, and you could have just turned the channel basically and picked a different game to watch.
That's the benefit here. This is not a loss by any means. I mean, you pay now for $9.99, the same as you did for one game, and now you get
24
over 20. Let's just put it that way, over 20. And this isn't something we're looking to change. We're looking to do this all the way in and through the playoffs as far as we can go. So keep that in mind. We're announcing it here is week 6, but it's taken us 5 weeks to work out the bugs internally so we can do this. So it's very cool. It's very. I mean, you guys have used it. The playlist, you hit the playlist on the right side, the drop down, and you can pick your game. They're all alphabetized. So excited for that. It's going to be a big opportunity, and not to take us back off course, but, I hate to believe that this is a bad thing for anybody under the conditions of COVID where a lot of us can't go to any games. We're blessed in being in the sports reporting business and that we can go, but there's a lot of people that can't, and now they can go all over the area for $9.99. So you could save yourself a few bucks. So, okay, again, teams that surprised us. Anybody outside of Mineral Ridge that really surprised you? I got one team up my sleeve that I'm really looking at.
I'm surprised with Ursuline just basically tapping out in the fourth quarter and just not showing up at all and even, playing any type of football in the fourth quarter. Surprised they just kind of tapped out there.
I'm not sure they tapped out. Let's give some credit.
I think I jinxed them.
Yeah, well,
no, they did
I did the full
not look
leprechaun.
good in the fourth quarter.
I did the full leprechaun outfit and they lost. I think I jinxed it.
Richie, who's surprising you in week number 5?
Honestly, I'm going to go with Cheney here because they had a 13-7 lead over Canfield at half. First time Canfield was trailed in the first and second quarters altogether. So, honestly, Cheney, 1-3, we're talking before the game. We know they're athletic. But they came out without their starting quarterback, too. They had a sophomore quarterback coming in for the first time. Petrosky was out. We don't know why yet, but he was out. So they were with their sophomore quarterback, and they come out and hold the Cardinals to 7 points, and they scored on the first play of the game. So besides that, and their other 4 drives, nothing. It was a lot of 3-and-outs for Canfield. First time we've seen that all year. So I give a lot of credit to Cheney. They came out, they played hard, and they had a lot to show for in week 5.
Ty, who shocked you so far?
I mean, you could call me a homer, but Austintown Fitch taking it to Cleveland Benedictine, 42-14. I was expecting a way closer game to that, but I mean, Coach Parker, it seems like always has something up his sleeve every single week he comes in, and we always say that the schedule gets progressively harder for him, and he always finds a way to respond. So he's doing a phenomenal job with his first year over there at Austintown.
I love seeing what he's doing. I'm a huge fan of TJ, have been since the moment he walked through these doors here. He's a guy that's going to make you run through that wall. Quinn, who has surprised you through 5 weeks of football?
Through 5 weeks of football or just this week?
Whichever you'd like, Quinn.
Well, just this week. I mean, it was the Southern United game was one of those ones like I didn't know which way to go. and Southern's defense just kind of stopped United, which was impressive to me. Other than that, I'll go with JFK. Beating Gilmore is impressive to me as well.
Smacked Gilmore. Smacked him. And all because of the slash man himself, Cam Hollabaugh. 6 touchdowns. Count them up. A half dozen. Dropping eggs in the basket. Just Cam Hollabaugh sprinkling in some championships. That a boy, Cam Hollabaugh. I'm proud of you. McNuggies, who do you got?
Before Quinn said it, I was going to go with Southern. I said it on Friday. Southern's going to win this game because defense wins you championships, and everybody laughed at me. They went out there, that defense performed, and they didn't just beat United. They beat them into the ground for the majority.
We agreed.
Yeah, the two of us, for the majority. I got laughed at. Billy Mack definitely laughed at me. He said 1985 defense wins you championships. Wins you championships in week 5 of the 2020 COVID season, too. So Southern, they didn't just beat United. They beat them into the ground. United did score a couple touchdowns, but it was too little too late.
What was the final score? They didn't beat them into the ground.
34-20 or something like that.
I think but there was some garbage time TDs that made it
Just
look
because
close.
they score late doesn't mean it's garbage time.
All right. I still think Southern for about 3.5 quarters owned United.
We'll see. I mean, I still think DJ and Ogilvy and Brutus Ogilvy and
Nothing.
Baker.
I'm not taking anything away from them. United
You
is still a
literally just
fantastic
say that.
football team.
Pummeled them!
What do you mean you're not taking anything away from them?
For 3 quarters.
I didn't say they weren't. I didn't say that they were a terrible team. I just said Southern came out ready to play and they handed it to them.
We're going to have to hit rewind on that one.
All right.
You want to take it back?
Take
Take it back? You want
Sure.
to take it back, McNuggies?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have
But
to.
let's just
You
go
can-
with Southern played a fantastic football game. Let's leave it
There
at that.
it is. There's what we've been looking for. That's it. Pummeling is basically what happened this
Middle
week.
Ridge.
Yeah, Mineral Ridge, and of course you've got Latonia Overeas Palestine, and you've got game out, and we saw a lot of big scores on Friday night. The one score we saw that was minute, Columbiana and Wellsville. Wow, 0-0. What, 6 seconds left, and Wellsville kicks a game-winning field goal. Unbelievable. That doesn't happen in 2020. Apparently till now.
That doesn't happen in high
Congratulations.
school football.
That's nutty, like crazier than a payday. That's so nutty that happens. Like, so credit to Wellsville, Coach Ramsey, his team, and credit to the kicker getting out there with the pressure on, a couple seconds left, and you put one through the pipes. That's clutch, Clutchville, USA.
I don't think we've had a high school football game that was 3 points or less and like a minute to go with a field goal.
I can't remember a 3-0 game unless it was like.
Well, not just a 3-0 game, but like a 3-point game where like the last minute of the game, there a field goal won the game. Has that happened yet this year?
I don't think so. The only one I can remember is the NFL when the Steelers beat the Miami Dolphins, and that was in a monsoon, I believe. So I'm going to jump on the Paul Munson bandwagon because I think I know where he's going to go with this. Paul, South Range on Friday night. It was the game of the week for the Cleveland Browns. It was so much on the line because this week league titles are at stake. Like they're shot out of a cannon. The South Range Raiders were up 20-0 before we could blink. Unbelievable. Have you seen a team like this, the South Range Raiders, to really go at somebody at the jugular like that in years?
It's been a while, and I know Coach Yeagley's alluded to it in some of his interviews with you. That every now and then, I mean, all of his teams are special to him, but every now and then they get this special group of guys that come together, and I think this is kind of reminding a lot of people of the team they had a couple of years ago when they went to, they got to the Final Four. I mean, originally my pick today was going to be, Ty. I mean, Cleveland Benedictine was a monster team, and they went up there and just manhandled them from start to finish, which a lot of people said Fitch just put everybody in the state on notice that they're for real. I mean, and they're going to get another big test this week. But, I mean, Struthers coming in there, I mean, I've got to see them twice this year besides, obviously watching South Range, and they've got a great team. Now, to their, credit, they didn't have Aiden Hall, and Aiden Hall is a superstar for them. And he was one of those kids, he got hurt he got cleared late. I mean, he was still punting the ball. He was the punter for them on Friday night, but he wasn't out there to, show off his speed and the talent he has on the field there. So, and I think that hurt them. Some people might want to say, oh, well, he doesn't play defense all that much either, but he does. And I mean, one kid can sometimes make a difference on a team mentally, if they know, hey, we don't have a chance to score very well here, then they kind of get down on themselves. But I mean, South Range is one of those things that a friend of mine, matter of fact, Rob, who's announced for us here a couple times, he sent me a text halfway through the game. He goes, you guys are for real. And there's stars, but there's not a lot of superstars here. They're spreading the ball out so much that every different guy, I mean, it was good to see. I mean, it was a good tune-up. They're going to get Hubbard. Hubbard took some lumps from Poland and got beat up, but I think this could be another good year for these guys. So
I think
where's Jamie at, by the way?
Yeah, you like that? He doesn't show up here today.
I think I don't think he ever shows up on a Monday, does he? I think he's got school, so he's taking care of what matters, guys. Billy Mack.
Yeah, well,
looking at you.
Some of us are old enough; we already have our degrees. So.
Well, you're old enough to have two. So.
Or five.
Yeah, or five. Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, teams that we're looking at trying to figure out what happened. So keep that in mind. You're watching the Power Hour presented by Baird Brothers, WRS Insurance Solutions, Channel 21 WFMJ, and G. Burbick Farms. Be back after this on the Power Hour.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plan still meets your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms. It just tastes better.
Welcome back to the YSN Power Hour. Nick chiming in saying, still no Poland love, LOL. And it's not that we don't love Poland. We all love Poland because they're part of the YSN family. I just think that, and I was actually about to say, if you put South Range and Poland back in a football atmosphere on a Friday night and it's not week one, I think that would be a very intriguing game. Very intriguing. You're looking at a completely different Poland team here in week 6 than they had in week 1. Would anybody disagree with that?
No, I agree. I mean, and you take it off of week 1, even if it was a regular week 1, you had that monsoon that happened on that night. I mean, and he's saying no love for Poland, but I mean, Poland's doing, I think, what they were expected to do. I mean, if anybody would have bet at the beginning of the year and they would have said, hey, in the NE8, who's going to win the league? Everybody would have bet Poland.
Heavy favorites.
And so they're doing what they expected to do with the teams that are in the league, because they are for the best part of it saying they're the cream of the crop of the league, and they don't like too well they lost to South Range, but you play what you have to play. Turnovers were a big part of that game. I mean, they had 3, South Range had none. So, turnovers and special teams, like they say, can affect your game. But I mean, they're gonna make some noise in the playoffs. I mean,
I think so too.
They're gonna, they get Struthers this week at Struthers, which is kind of a rivalry game for those guys, and then they're gonna go into the playoffs and they're gonna make some rumbles there. So I think
this is where they're at their best, though, right? I mean, this is when you think of Poland football. They're very much like Cheney, where they do their best work later on in the year. I mean, you look at the run they had last year.
Absolutely.
It's going to be interesting. We have love for Poland. Please never ever think that we do not have love for Poland.
Well, I hope Poland doesn't have the losses that Cheney will have by the end of the year.
No, but you're looking at a different beast too. I mean, I really think that you're looking at a different beast. There's if you look at Cheney's schedule, I mean, they're playing some tough opponents, right? And especially early on, and now they're playing Fitch tight. They're playing. I mean, look at what they did against Canfield. I mean, this is a good team. They just can't put it together for all 4 quarters. If they figure it out, my goodness, look out! Look out! The athleticism on that team alone is a coach's dream, Mac.
I'd agree. They just got to put it together for 4 quarters. I mean, they've had big leads every half, and then they get to that 3rd quarter and they really struggle. So if they could put together a complete game, this is a tough team.
And I think they will this week. I mean,
isn't that by definition of what a good team does? They put it together. So can you say they're a good team without putting 4 quarters of football together?
I don't know. You're wearing a Johnny Manziel shirt. You talk.
Ooh. Yikes.
Yeah, I think this could be the best matchup for them going into the playoffs, because they're going to get, it's a rival game. They're going to play East on Friday at Boardman, and they're going to play them. And I think it's a good tune-up game. Not to take anything away from East, but I mean, East has been struggling all year. And, to look at the 2 programs, Billy, you talk about, isn't that what good teams do? Let's think about this. How long have these 2 programs been back?
2 years?
2, maybe 3 years.
3 years?
I know, but we're out every week. We sit here and talk about how great Cheney is, but they go out there and lose games, so they can't be that great.
I wouldn't want to play Cheney in the playoffs right now. Is all I'm saying.
No.
If you're a higher number seed, I would not want Cheney in the playoffs.
Let me ask you,
right
and I don't want to speak on behalf of any coach, but I guarantee you, there's no coach. I would guarantee Coach Pavlansky does not sign up to play Cheney if the availability is there.
He even said that. He said that with Steve on his interview. Like, this is a dangerous team. Nobody wants to play them in the playoffs as a higher seed. It's just an upset waiting to happen.
And it's going to happen, because if you look where Cheney is right now in the the Joe Itel rankings, they're down there a little bit, and
they're going
to sneak up on somebody who's not paying attention, and they're going to beat somebody, and then it's going to be the Wild West for them, pun intended, being the Cowboys, because I mean they're going to be very dangerous, and it's going to be interesting because, and like I said, and like Ty's dad just said, they're young. They are. This is yes, there is tradition at Cheney, of having good teams in the past, but then they took that break off where they had no football at that school, and kids had to go other places, and now all those kids are being brought back together who are friends, who may went to different schools. And now you've got to put all that together and get going and get that.
That's great. But calling them a good team, I just can't get behind right now. You can call them a young team. You can say they're figuring it out. But calling them a good team, I wouldn't do that right now.
I would.
That's a difference of opinion, and we're all allowed to have those. But when you have a lot of talent on the team and they are a good team.
Talented team, that's a whole different thing. You can be talented but not good. Browns are talented. They're not very good.
I mean, I can to some extent, I can get behind that. Not fully.
Can be gauged differently though too. I mean, guys, some of those guys are old and talented and their talent's gone, but these guys they're figuring each other out.
Can we also look at what they've been through this year? I mean, they've been through tragedy a couple times over this year.
They're on the road too every game.
They've yet to have a home game.
Yeah, they don't get a home game. They have no home game. Even when they do have home games, those aren't home games. They play at Rain Stadium. That's not their home stadium. So these guys are the road warriors all year.
Can you imagine being up against it the entire year? No home games, no place to put your head, so to speak. No place to call home, no place to defend. You're constantly up in somebody else's house trying to upset them. I mean, again, this is it's a young team, it's a talented team, and I think it's a good team. And I think to blow that off to what they've done now, okay, they don't get the win. That doesn't mean you're not a good team. It just means that you weren't the better team that night. And reality is I mean, you look at Canfield. You look at Fitch. These are two of the teams that everybody's looking at as the team. The team.
They lost by a touchdown to Fitch, and Fitch is going around pounding these like state powers up. So they're gonna get tuned up this week, and then they're gonna be ready for that first round of the playoffs. And they're gonna have to probably travel somewhere. And
I do think not having their quarterback too hurt them against Canfield. I mean, honestly,
absolutely.
Even though he was fantastic,
an underrated quarterback too. He's a very underrated quarterback with his legs. He can break out of that pocket, and he could seriously hurt you with his running.
Let's check this comment out. Daryl Klein saying, got on late. When will they release the playoff pairings? Any insight on how it will look? Interesting, because this was going to be our next topic. The playoff pairings, I believe, are released Thursday at 1 o'clock. That's the plan. Coaches have from now until the next 30 hours or so to put in their seedings. That's the way it goes. There was talk all over Potesta, I almost choked. Potesta this morning about what is the right thing to do. Should they just go by Joe Itel? Should they go by, should coaches do that? What's your take on this? If you're a coach, because right now, I mean, unfortunately, Daryl, we don't have an answer for you because we don't know how this is going to go. If you've ever been coach like Quinn has, like Billy has, you've been in these meetings where a lot of it is political. A lot of it is, hey, you scratch up my back, I'll scratch yours kind of deal, and we vote for each other and stuff like that. This could end up really, really interesting because teams like McDonald, teams like Cheney will get a poor seed, I think.
Most coaches hate these. Most coaches hate these. They hate them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's not many coaches that say, "Hey, I really like. I miss I miss going back and saying, hey, let's vote in the same." They hate these. This is. I mean, it is what it is. I would have rather them just kind of use the computer points that they had previously set up and then go, here's 1 through right here it is, and then divvy those up and go. The idea of this is I just don't like it.
But you know why they're doing it? Why? The OHSAA, they get to say.
Because they're effing scumbags.
Yeah, we had nothing to do with this, but I meant to talk. I talked to Coach Yeagley this morning when I got to work, and I meant to talk to Tony about it. I want to know how they're going to do that, like whether they're going to video conference or whether they're getting like, here's a sheet, rank everybody 1 through 26 in your region.
It's all online.
It's all online.
Yeah, it's all online.
Email them about it.
So that's it. So that's it. I think they're going to get all these emails in and. Say, I just take because of what I'm familiar with, region or Division 5, Region 17, which is what, South Range is in. Even though if you look on Joe Itel, Kirtland is not number 1. Kirtland's going to get voted number 1. I mean, they're going to be the number 1 team. And if anybody in Division 5, Region 17 thinks otherwise,
Eric's right on here. I mean, this is exactly how it goes. I mean, you always stick it to the independent teams, and you always vote for your team. Your teams in your league. That's just
anybody.
Most will do it. There are some in the leagues and the conferences that still don't really fish like out of water, kind of. Yeah,
that's true. It goes back to the popularity contest.
And that's what's troublesome, right? You're going to see from this area, you're going to see somebody get screwed. Somebody is going to, and here's the other thing. They might not even see it as getting screwed because they want to play Week 7. A lot of these coaches want to play Week 7 because if they're playing well, what are you going to do on Week 7? A bye week doesn't help you at all unless you're injured, and the majority of these teams aren't dinged up that are going to be getting a bye. I mean,
can you imagine like South Range goes undefeated and they're the 7th seed?
And having to play
because their schedule's hard, right? Can you imagine them going like, hey, we didn't get a top 5 seed, we don't have a bye, so we're going to play this. Can you, just because out of spite for some teams that may not like South Range?
Yes.
That's dumb. That's why they should have just left the computer points there, because they do them for every school. It doesn't matter if you're last or
What do
first.
you do with the winless teams? That's the question. What do you do? Do you alphabetize them and just play them off? Like, what do you do?
I mean,
alphabetize them, flip a coin, whatever. Paper, scissors, rock.
Goes by like strength of schedule too.
Yeah.
Steve
Gilmore
Gilmore
That could be something maybe.
Hang
going to
on.
look at that Joe Itel. I think some of the coaches are going to look at that and say, okay, this is kind of where he had them, because you know your region. You know the teams that are in there because you've either seen them in the playoffs or you play them in the regular season. You're going to see those teams and go, all right, just because these guys, for instance, people are going to look at Cheney. Okay, just because Cheney's 2-4, they're going to say they're better than 2-4, so they shouldn't be like a 20 seed. They're going to be like ranked a little higher. And I think they're going to look at that a little bit. And then, like you said, the teams that are with no wins, they're going to probably look at the bottom and say who they play. And then they're still going to be at the bottom, but they're not going to be like just throw them in there and wherever they hit the wall, they hit the wall. So
Steve Gilmartin saying, which team could possibly get hurt the most from this voting system? That's a great question. And, I mean, I said one team already. I really think, somebody said McDonald is a given to get a bye, and I think they're going to be one of the teams that get looked over for whatever reason. They don't. McDonald never gets the respect they're due because of who they play, right? Everybody, it's Springfield's conference, and everybody else just, goes in lockstep. I think McDonald is going to be hurt for that, and it's a shame. It really is. And you look at teams like Columbiana, Wellsville. You look at United now. With one loss. They're not. We thought they were going to get a bye no matter what. I don't think that teams are going to look at that and say, yeah, that's a one-loss United team, or because they're voting obviously before the Letonia game this week, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to take that into account. And I think McDonald United topped my list and of the teams that are going to be most affected by this. I really do think so. Anybody else have a difference of opinion?
I think you have to look at everybody and who they play. I think most coaches look at strength of schedule and they kind of vote upon that depending on how well their wins and losses go. But so I can't argue those two teams will probably get looked over, or somebody will definitely look them.
Obviously,
if you look right now, McDonald's a 6 seed at Joe Itel.
Yeah, so they're on the bubble. They're on the bubble right there.
The thing is, there's only 21 teams. There's only 21 teams in that, so I don't know how.
21 teams or 21 people ranked?
21 teams.
21 teams.
All right,
because Joe Itel only put the teams in that opted into the playoffs.
Okay.
So, and they put the brackets out. They put the brackets out the other day, and and I think that's where it's going to come into effect too. A coach is going to be able to look at a bracket and go, okay, I see here if we get the bye, we're going to get the winner of these two games. Who may I be able to seed there that I think I can beat if they win that game? And then they might start trying to do that as well.
That's going to be the Cheney effect. That's what
nobody's going to want to play Cheney.
They're either going to vote up Cheney or vote down Cheney to avoid playing them.
Yeah.
Because they're one of those teams that are better than their record shows.
But that's the beauty of all this for Cheney. Hopefully people vote them down, and then all of a sudden they are an upset machine.
Well, the problem that they're going to run into is they're going to see probably Steubenville first round, honestly, because teams aren't going to want to play Cheney. They'll put them against
Division III.
Didn't Steubenville just get killed a week or two ago?
Yeah, Philly beat them like 31-0.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I don't think Steubenville is the
I'm not buying into
Steubenville
that. Who said it earlier that Austintown Fitch might have its toughest test this week in Steubenville? Who said that? Because I don't think that's true.
No, I don't either.
I said I thought their toughest test was going to be against Benedictine, but you can't overlook.
I think Paul said it was a tough test. I don't think anybody said it was the toughest.
We saw Mooney play Steubenville the first game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've seen a plethora of teams play Steubenville. The only way that I think
Steubenville got housed by, I'm just looking at their schedule.
New Philly?
Got housed by New Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, New Philly.
And Canfield.
New Philly's tough, though. New Philly's tough, though.
They did. Canfield whomped them, though. And then,
they only beat them by 7.
Canfield only beat them by a touchdown.
Yeah, they only beat them by 7.
You want to talk about matchups, a dream matchup in the area? I'd love to see that Canfield and Fitch team square off right now. I think those two.
No,
Those
you want
two.
to talk about like
Let's do it, Ty.
we talked. Yeah, that would be great.
I want to see South Range Springfield.
Bam, there it is.
Yep.
That would be. You want to talk about a game that everyone and their mother would watch. South Range Springfield. Can you imagine Week 7? These
My
teams
mother
just
probably
go,
wouldn't watch it. She doesn't like football.
well, for $9.99, she can get whatever game she wants.
That's the
And
salesman.
what's funny is like some of the kids. I had some of the kids in class today. They're like, hey, they don't want. I mean, Coach Ailey doesn't want it either. He, like you alluded to, DJ, he doesn't want that Week 7 bye. He really wants to play a game. But then I was trying to tell the guys, you don't really want to play Week 7 right now or pick up some random game because God forbid somebody gets hurt, and now you've ruined your chances in the playoffs. But every single one of the kids I said, they're like, well, we'd like to see if Springfield would play.
Do you coach baseball planning for injuries?
And I was like, Springfield, I was like, I don't know if Coach Guerrero would want to do that either. I was like, but, yeah, that would be the game. I mean, could you
But
imagine that Week 7?
Like, listen, Paul, who cares? In the grand scheme of things, like, I got to believe, I have to believe, with only one team holding the trophy at the end of the year, right? And we know Springfield was this close. But those kids are going to remember a Week 7 where they beat Springfield or Springfield beat them for the rest of their lives because it wasn't supposed to happen, and they took it upon themselves to play it. They said, we want to play. If you're worried about injuries, then
Springfield by 50.
Shut up.
I just think that's what they're looking at. I mean, yeah, the kids want to see that. The kids want to play that. But that's one of those things, like, you didn't have to do that. There was no reason to do it. So if you did do it and something bad happened, you're going to get just crucified for that forever. I mean, and that's, it's bad. Listen, if they both get knocked out in Week 9, why not go play that game Week 10?
I agree, but I think
Does it mean any less Week 7 or Week 10?
I don't think that those teams are going to get knocked out. I think it's going to take a lot to knock those teams out in Week 9. I really do. And by that, they might say, we're done. You know what I mean? You expend your energy on that, and because a lot of these teams are going to say, "There's nobody out there."
So you're
that
running
we can
from it?
stack up against."
You're running from the fight.
Who is?
You're avoiding the Week 7 matchup. Paul?
What?
You told them not to do it. They don't want to do it. You shouldn't do it. You're gonna get injured.
I agree with
that.
that.
Springfield line.
I said
They're so nasty up front.
I said neither school is going to want to do that. They're not going to have a big game like that before the playoffs. After the playoffs, I think they might do it if they're both out around the same time. Hey, why not? But to sit there and say, hey, we both are going to have a bye, let's go beat up on each other before we have to try to make a run in state. I think both coaches would be like
over not playing anybody when a traditional year you play 10 games and then you play the postseason.
And they were on each other's schedule Week 1. That's my biggest concern. Is okay, you guys are supposed to play each other anyway. Just play. I get it that you could get hurt or there could be ding, but you also test each other. You also see what each other brings to the table. And quite honestly, yes, South Range has probably been tested a little bit more than Springfield this year, but you look at what Springfield has in front of them. If I'm Coach Guerrero, and I know he doesn't back away from anything, I might consider this because you play a good team. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, as long as you walk away relatively healthy, play them because this is something the kids are going to remember for the rest of their lives, and you will too. And it also gives you a nice test. Now, some people I've heard they want a cupcake Week 7. Everybody's chasing, these 0 for teams.
On Twitter, South Range doesn't want to play Springfield.
Stop it.
In Week 7.
He's not going to do it.
No, he will. Daryl chime in again. What's the purpose of releasing playoff pairings before the last game? Why not wait? Takes away from the meaning of this week's games.
100%.
I understand that. However, there's 3 times as many. That's the argument you're going to get from the OHL.
It's just time. It's just time and organization.
There's too many teams that
they do this for baseball too,
and it's frustrating because you can take the week off essentially, right? I mean, if you wanted to, you just say, well, because here's the thing, you just say, hey, we don't want to play. Who's got? I mean, you forfeit or whatever, or there's a COVID whatever the situation is. You just don't play. We'll play it later. We've seen that already this year.
I think they do this for almost every other sport. I think they do it for every sport. Is the season's not over before you
Get
know your
seeded.
seedings,
Yeah,
and who you're
absolutely.
playing.
Football is
just-
a little bit different
But
because the
you
teams
look
just
at
new to
basketball.
football. This is
How many
it's
games
just
are you
new to
playing in
football.
basketball?
Yeah,
How many
but this
games are
is
you
just,
playing in
this is just
baseball?
new to football. This is, usually it's computer points, so every week matters. And there's less teams, a lot less teams.
No, yes, I completely get that you want to go with coach voting because the computer points are probably not going to be accurate with certain teams not playing in weeks. And with a Cheney who's played close against Canfield and Fitch, probably the two best teams they'll face. And they're sitting at, 1-4 right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I'm right.
They're ranked 20th
I mean,
right now.
and something I hate to talk about my team, but this is going to hurt Beaver Local because they've had 4 straight wins, but they're against not so overwhelming teams. They probably got their biggest game aside from East Liverpool coming up this week, and the seedings are already going to be out. I think Bel Air's ranked maybe 6th.
I don't think coaches have the time to go back and say, okay, who did they play? They're going to look at their records and they're going to go. Most of them are going to know what kind of team is on the field, right? Because it's being regionalized, correct? So you just
I think
go,
so.
okay,
Yeah, they updated the
team.
regions.
Yeah, I know this.
And
team,
I don't know if
every
every other coach is like my dad. First thing he does when he gets home, flips on FMJ. He's watching high school highlights. He wants to know what every team around this area is doing. So
Jeff.
So
see how
when
that's done?
I did this,
Other coaches probably are not like that, but I think
so when I did when I did the voting, when I was still doing head coach stuff, we would have to put in our notable wins, right? And then notable losses. That was kind of a key so like if Quinn's coaching in the same district and he's voting, he'll see Max school, notable wins, record, what league he plays in, and then notable losses. And that's kind of all the information you basically get. So it's not like, oh, here's South Range, or oh, here's, United, 5-1, or 5-0, or whatever, and this is how you vote. There is some information. It's not a whole bunch, but there is some.
So, Billy, you know most of your teams anyway.
Right.
In basketball, I know all the teams that are in our district, and I know.
Yeah. Right.
So
I'd love to see some of those.
A lot of coaches know who they are.
I'd love to see the salesmanship on some of those because the notable losses, because the coach wants to play in week 7 as opposed to not play. You know what I mean? Yeah, like it's all in how you sell it. So I'd love to see how those kind of pan out. But I'm in agreement. I don't think that it's necessarily fair to, if we're going to play 6 weeks, we should have had voting after 6 weeks. But I think the time of all of this does not, allow teams to get what they need over the course of, and the OHSA to do their job over the course of
those guys need time because we all know they're really quick about making decisions on things. So,
and it'll be interesting where they seed some of these teams too, because I mean, some of them that are on the cuff, like Mike brings up Beaver Local. There's 24 teams in their region, and they're sitting in the 8th spot. So if they are going by what they want to do, they want to have 16 teams by round 2. They're sitting in the 8th spot. They're just there. Like if they get knocked down to 9, they're playing week 7.
But all it takes is one person not to like Beaver Local or to like Beaver Local too much over somebody else, and they have a bye. I mean,
are we going to have this show Monday with the brackets, or is this Thursday?
Monday.
Thursday
they come out, so we'll have them.
We'll have them Thursday for the show.
Yep.
Can't wait.
That's going to be a great show.
Thursday's usually our show that we talk about pro
NFL,
sports
right?
and the NFL anyway. So
Throw
we'll
that
get our
out.
picks in. Why? Because you stink at it?
No, I actually did pretty good this week. I think I got only like 3 games wrong, but.
So I mean, we'll
ready to talk.
This is obviously, we talked about the pillars, and we're loyal to local first, and then if there's nothing to talk about, we'll get to the NFL. But if you're looking for NFL, hit the road this week because it's all about our local teams and how they're ranked. We'll have analysis of it and how we
do have a Wednesday show. Maybe we'll throw some of that in Wednesday.
And Paul, you mentioned Beaver Local. You mentioned their region. I think somebody that might get screwed. They have the points though. East Liverpool. Some teams are probably going to look at that 2-3 record and throw up some red flags.
Potter football.
I hate to be this. I hate to be this guy, especially being from Beaver Local. But that team is not a regular 2-3 team. I hate to be that guy.
I mean, when you play Beaver Local and you play what was it, West Branch, right?
West Branch, and they played them close.
That's a damn good team in West Branch.
West Branch is number 3 in this region.
They're undefeated, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Pullman's sitting 2 and Canal
Hang on,
Fulton's
boys.
sitting 1.
Big news coming
Yeah,
out of
Kent South is like undefeated too.
Well, if you know the news, break it for us.
Liz Sherry can't drop teases on us. If big news is coming out of Hubbard, I mean, that's the only big news we've had in the last 7 months has not been good news. So
yeah, it's always cancellation news is what we hear.
Paul, you're the closest to it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're literally in the school right now, so we probably
and
would have heard it.
And the bad thing is that football coaches are at practice and ADs at a golf tournament. So
hang on,
they're not.
While I try to do some investigative Adam Schefter reporting, can we get some G. Burbick Farms? What's your beef, McNuggies? We'll start with you.
No beef. Fantastic weekend. I mean, I beat EB in fantasy football this week. My Steelers won. I had a great Saturday of college football. Went to a corn maze on Saturday. My Beavers won on Friday. What's there to beef about today?
I don't know.
Your Steelers?
Oh, Quinn? Would you
really?
stop it? Yeah.
You and about 700 other people in this city.
Why? They're allowed to be your Lakers, your Browns,
They're
your
not my
Cavs,
Lakers.
your whatever. But
They're not my
he's
Lakers.
not allowed to have one.
It's his LeBron. That's what it is.
They're not my Lakers. My Lakers are the girls.
Okay. I hate when people do that. You know how we talk. It's sports.
My Steelers.
Go ahead, Quinn.
I have no beef. I have no beef. The Browns.
All of that, and you have no beef.
I don't have beef. It's like Michael said. It was a great weekend. The Browns won. Fantasy, I won. I beat the guy that's right above me. It's a great weekend.
You've had 48 hours to get
no beef. None.
All right.
I have no beef.
To you, sir.
I got some, and I do. My beef is that, unfortunately, these guys suck.
They do. They're bad.
Thankfully, I was at an event for one of our YSN schools, and I did not have to watch the embarrassment that they put on TV, on national TV. And it was just horrible. But every person that I know that is a fan of that other university had to send me text messages the entire time I was there, and just I was like, it was horrible. I was able to go home and watch a little bit at the end, and it was embarrassing. So my beef is that, like, this team can't get it on track at all, no matter who their coach is or any of that stuff, and it's terrible, and it's disgusting. And my beef is with myself that they're still my team, but I'm loyal to them. I'll stick with them. You know, even though Thug you beat them, I don't care. But it was just disgusting. It was the only downfall of my whole weekend. You know, everybody else did okay. The Raiders, even though they lost to New England, they still put up a good fight, and it's okay. But that was just disgusting. And, you know, thankfully I have other good things in my life to worry about instead of dwelling on that. So,
amen, brother. Ty?
My beef is also with myself. Stupid mistakes were made over the weekend, and you know, just something got to come back from. Try to get better, and you know, correct mistakes going forward, and just come back swinging harder.
Mac, you.
My beef is this week is going to suck. I'm not looking forward to it. My brother's getting married on Friday. There's a ton of stuff that's going on. I mean, I'm excited for my brother and, you know, my future sister-in-law and all that, but there's a lot of things to go on, and, you know, I'm not really looking forward to it because I'm not a huge wedding fan anyway. So, and then I'm also, the beef is with the love affair to certain schools.
Dick. Richie Giuliano, go ahead.
My beef's with the Yankees this week. We need some revenge. The Indians hosting the Yankees on Tuesday, so yeah, let's go. Let's get a dub. Some revenge from 2017, when personally I thought that was the Indians' best year, most stacked team, and then we were up 2-0. They came back and swept us 3-2. So you know, my beef's with the Yankees this week.
EB saying still need you at a game Friday, and I think he's talking to Billy Mack, but I have no idea. It's not directed to anybody, so I'm just going to guess Billy Mack. My beef is going to be with just people that don't really understand how the internet works. Sometimes, it is our issue. Sometimes it's not. And you're saying that, adamantly people adamant that it's YSN's fault. It's this sometimes it's your internet. Sometimes it's a bad internet connection, and that's just how it is. And we're not blaming you, but maybe check your other, or if you have this connected, you have 16 computers connected, it's probably going to be slow because you don't have enough what they call bandwidth. So make sure that, it's not a user error before you start pointing the finger over at us, because let's be honest, Brian's got enough to do on a Friday night, and people don't realize that it's not that, like, it's not happening. Usually if it happens one place and it happens everywhere, we understand. We know that it's going on, and we're trying to fix it at that point. We have an announcer emergency on Friday night. We fixed it. We did the best we could. We had adjusted the way we could. If there's a situation where it is our fault, we will give you a refund. We will present it in the best light possible. But a lot of times you have to realize it's not always our fault. We're a society that likes to point fingers at you. Just check your internet. You know what I mean? If you can't watch your TV and it's over the internet, or you're not getting YouTube TV or whatever it is, or Hulu or Netflix, maybe just dial it down a little bit if you want to watch games. But like we said, guys, all games this week, how much?
$9.99.
$9.99.
And watch the games on Wi-Fi, not on your data, and then blame us for it.
Bingo. There it is. I guess that was way easier to say than my long explanation of it. But yeah, watch it on Wi-Fi. And if you don't know what Wi-Fi is, you might want to invest.
We have a problem.
You might want to invest that $9.99 into Wi-Fi, or something along those lines. Or hey, here's another thing. Go to Coca's. Watch it at Coca's, because they're having all the games. Go to there's the place in Latonia. They have it. The Italian American Club. They have it. Go to a place that's a bar that is utilizing our services. There's plenty of them out there. Wedgwood in Austintown, they're doing it. So make sure you get out and support these great companies, these great locations, these great pubs and restaurants that are supporting us. Tiger's Table in Springfield, make sure you're supporting them. So if you want to go, and here's the better chance now, because they can watch all the games too. For what?
$9.99.
Atta boy. All right, that's going to do it for the Power Hour today. Tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on YSN. Well, wait a minute. Carrie's popping in. She wants, what is this Wi-Fi you keep speaking of?
Yeah. She's full of jokes because everybody makes fun of our internet.
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
Works just fine. We watch the games just fine at our house.
Why are you watching games at your house?
I'm not. They are.
Okay, just making sure.
Only when I'm on, though. So
only when you're on. That's gonna do it for
this. Which is never, because you're always a PA announcer.
Today's Power Hour. Tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on the network. Say so long, everybody.
So long.